Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. It's 9:44 p.m. and it's Thursday night. This is the video for Friday, and Aristo, of course, will be recording with me tomorrow, I assume. I haven't heard otherwise, and that'll be the video for Saturday. I've had a lot of resistance to this video. I've wanted to start it actually a few other times today, but I just wasn't ready to give it the green light and the go ahead. The title finally is this: Oh, good. Now you're blaming God. As many times as I got quiet throughout the day to determine my next message, this topic kept coming up again and again. How can someone get mad at God? One commenter said it was immature, and the one who provided the title I used added, "Don't be surprised when you get exactly what you ask for." Frankly, my relationship with God has scaled the heights of ecstasy and plumbed the depths of despair. To me, that's what makes it real. One thought keeps returning today is another point of view that I must consider. Which God am I talking to or about? Prime Creator or the many gods that participated in the manipulation of Homo sapiens, primarily the Pleiadian gods that messed with our DNA? And I'm going to take out a word that I have there because I think it reads better without it. Sometimes I don't know till I read things out loud. Anyway, yes, I have some resistance to talking about this. And it, incidentally, the person who said, "Oh, good, now you're blaming God," uh, and then added what I said. Where did I put it? Don't be surprised when you get exactly what you ask for. Which, if I went back to that blurb, let me just look. I have that blurb right here too. Uh, let's see. I, I oh I am willing to forgive you. You think I'm playing God? You're right. I would allow the pain and suffering. Wait a minute. Anyway, oh God, you fucked up is what I said in the other one, and that's the blaming God. And I've had a robust relationship with God. I mean, as I said in today's blurb that I finally got around to actually writing, I have had mountaintop experiences where there was not a doubt in the world that God was real, that I knew God, that I knew Jesus, that I knew the angels, that I had just intimate feeling of connectedness and just beautiful times of mountaintop experience. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know. I mean, I can think back to at least a handful of instances, which I've reiterated in previous videos. I'm not going to do that again today. Uh, but I've had some really good highs, and I've had some pretty bad lows. And the lows come with disappointments. The lows come when I've gone out on a limb or when I've expected a promise to be imminent in its fulfillment and there are significant delays or a total negating of what I thought was going to happen. And those are the times that I sink into despair of making what feels so connected in the mountaintop experience real in the valley. It's a challenge to live this human life. And I'm not going back to Prime Creator because I've come to a greater realization, as I implied or indicated in the blurb, that the gods that created us, the gods that the Bible talks about, and God said, let us make man in our image, and let us give him dominion over this, and let us make it, it is not good that man should be alone, let us make a helpmeet for him. Us, gods, the gods, the gods. Who were they? My current understanding, and it's only my current understanding, is that they were Pleiadians, that we come from the Pleiades. And when I first heard of the Pleiades back in probably 1992, 3, 4, somewhere around there, when I read Bringers of the Dawn, that was probably my first exposure even to the idea of Pleiadian gods. But I somehow felt that I was a Pleiadian. So I might be one of the gods that messed everything up and created this limitation by creating junk DNA, which really isn't junk DNA. It's just DNA that hasn't been activated, so that we're operating as Homo sapiens with only a partial capacity. We've came in with amnesia. We were given amnesia to not remember the connection that we had with Prime Creator, with Source, with the God of gods. We forgot. And we have to go through this process of pain and suffering to try to remember. Now, it is said, and again, it's speculation. I can't prove it, and I don't believe anybody else can either. It's speculation that this was done for the purpose of speeding up evolution. Because of the complacency of beings, they needed something to stimulate them more with greater contrast, and hence the pain and suffering. That's, truthfully, that's not the issue with me. That's not the issue. The issue is the violation of free will. When I live in a world where I become aware of how the world works, and I see people's free will being violated by people that are supposed to be authorities, and I don't see the gods, whoever they are, extraterrestrials, angels, those that represent the kingdom of heaven, I don't see them leveling the playing field. And I've been crying out for that for a long time now. A long time. Level the playing field. Stop the criminals. At least start putting some of the criminals in a position where they're not going to be so readily moving toward the violation of other people's rights. Can't you at least do that? Can't you at least put the fear of God into these people that don't seem to have any of it? That seem to be able to get away with all sorts of violations of other people's free will? I mean, that's the part that really upsets me and really bothers me. Because if I had all of my resources activated, if I had all of my DNA turned on, and I had all of my powers and gifts and talents and abilities where I could use them, you better believe that I would be able to stop some of this nonsense. And I realize how long it's going to take without an event that levels the playing field, that brings these people that are doing these, as I keep saying, dastardly deeds, brings these people into a little bit of a check. At the very least, level the playing field. At the very least. This is what I've cried out for. This is what I've wanted. This is the injustice of the whole creation. That those that violate free will don't get their free will violated in retribution, that's fair play. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. They are the ones that are violating other people's free will. How come the people, especially those at the top of the pyramid, the Illuminati, the really filthy, filthy rich people who are so wealthy, so have so much money and resources that they would even make people like Donald Trump and Bill Gates seem like paupers, if you can believe that, because they're billionaires, I believe, and the Waltons and some of these other people that we think of as being very, very wealthy. Well, what about the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers? How wealthy are they? You never hear how much they're worth. They're not even on the list of high worth. Why aren't these people being brought to justice? Why isn't anything happening to these people? Or even to the Donald Trumps and the Bill Gates and the Waltons, who amass great fortunes and do next to nothing except to serve an evil agenda like Bill Gates does, of putting all these medicines and pharmaceuticals into Africa to make the problem worse, not to make it better. And that's what so much of the philanthropy, so-called, does in our world. It doesn't make anything better, it makes it worse, because they have the eugenics agenda that's driving the whole thing, of thinking that they have to reduce the world's population. Where is the fairness? Where is divine justice? Where is divine retribution, if you will? Where is the karma? Where is the boomerang coming back on those that do these things? These are the issues that get under my skin, because I want a world that works for everyone. And someone said, Ron, I forget who they said, somebody, that was the saying that they had, and they ended up dying. And they never were able to achieve the world that worked for everyone. And they were saying that their whole lives. I don't remember who that was. It was somebody that was famous, but I read it this morning and I don't remember it in this moment right now. In any case, that's been my goal since I was a little kid. I've always been for the underdog. I've said that many times. I've always rooted for the people that appeared to be the victim, appeared to have the least going for them. That's just been the way I've been wired and programmed. And maybe it is a wiring, maybe it is a programming, I don't know. But it's what I've identified with. And it's what has driven me to do many of the things that I've done, and to have the goals and the ambitions and the desires that I've had. And I look at these things, and I look at others, the lives of others. So many people leading quiet lives of quiet desperation, as one writer wrote. I remember Jack Nichols talking about, one of the thinkers, that says that one of the first women's libbers, actually, I think that he was quoting, that the respectable folks live lives of quiet desperation. Well, I hope that desperation is getting louder. And I'd like the gods, those extraterrestrial civilizations that have been involved in the messing up of our DNA, to reactivate it, to level the playing field, to get on with the show. It doesn't have to take forever anymore. I mean, my God, it seems to me that we've gone way past the critical mass. And if we're waiting for a 51%, we're not ever going to get there. Not ever going to get there. Unless the playing field can be leveled. Unless free will can work as easily for those that want to do good as it does for those that want to do evil. That it works as well for those that want to bless humanity as it does for those who want to curse humanity. You know, which free will are we talking about? Are we talking about free will? Well, free will isn't free if the playing field isn't level. If it's only free for those that are malevolent in their intentions, then it's not free will. It's not free will for those that are benevolent. When is benevolence going to be put on equal footing with malevolence in our world? That's the issue that I'm dealing with. That's what drives me and gets under my skin. and makes me go into those places of despair with God, with my Creator, with my purpose for being. These are the things that drive me. Yes, of course I want to experience the ecstaticness of feeling connected, but I want it to make a difference in the world. I want it to be measurable. I want it to be substantial. I want it to be materialized. And that's my dream, my desire, my hope, my wish. That's what I want more than anything else. For all of humanity to at least be given the chance to have benevolence work as well as malevolence does. And yes, I'd like God's help. I'd like divine intervention at whatever level it can be, so that we can still actually learn, but so that we don't get destroyed in the meantime. I believe we've been destroyed civilizations ago, Atlantis and other ones. I don't want that to happen again. I want to see this thing move quicker. I want to see us be able to come home and to create together heaven on earth. Is that too much to ask? And I don't think it's immature of me to say, God, where are you? God, either shit or get off the pot. It's time that you take action to help us, help me, help each one of us that's calling out, to have our DNA fully activated and all of our gifts and talents and abilities restored, to remember who we are, to bring back the fragments of our soul that have been fragmented through many lifetimes, and let us be united. If that means other parts of us walking into this part of us that's conscious here now, well then let that be what it is. Maybe that's what happened with Pope Francis, some say. I don't know. But I wouldn't mind having the rest of me walk in, so that I can be more fully human, and so that I can be fulfilled as a being of high consciousness and sentience and awareness. I guess that's all I'm going to share. I guess it wasn't as bad as what I was fearing it might be. It is what it is. I'm glad you listened. Namaste.